Okay, so yes, we have different safety protocols for this return to activity. What we're doing at the Burlington Miners. So we are taking all of our guidance on this from the Ontario Lacrosse Association return to activity protocol. So that is a great document for anybody who has further questions about this. We've just had to kind of manipulate it into the situation that we're in. So I'll just kind of briefly go through it so that we all know what's going on Tuesday, and we can follow that for all the sessions, following sessions. So first and foremost, if you or your player are not feeling well, please do not attend the session. That is very important for us to highlight and make sure that nobody is coming when they are sick and we're not risking spreading, whether it's COVID or any other infectious disease. In this meeting, I'm also supposed to mention that as part of signing up for this has been the case with all the OLA insurance for any infectious disease, but you are waiving, they just made sure that you were aware that COVID-19 and all infectious diseases are not covered by OLA insurance. So you've already attested to that by signing up, but just wanted to make sure that was on the table and you were well aware of that. So what kind of screening questions are we using here at Burlington Miner? So the 3 questions that we have are, have you traveled outside of Canada in the past 14 days? Have you been told to self-isolate by public health? Do you feel unwell or have any of the symptoms listed? And those include new or worse shortness of breath, new or worse cough, new or worse difficulty breathing, sore throat, fever or chills, difficulty swallowing, nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea or abdominal pain, decrease or loss of sense or of smell or taste, headaches, pink eye, unexplained fatigue, muscle aches, malaise, or runny nose or nasal congestion without other known cause. I also just wanted to highlight that the public health recommendations include everyone self-isolating if anyone in your household is being tested for COVID-19 due to having symptoms. So we ask that you please respect these screening questions and have those in your mind when you think about whether or not I should come to the field or not. In general, if you're feeling at all unwell, please avoid coming to these sessions. So as Steve was saying, what we have is Ireland Park 3 and 4. We've been able to split the fields into halves, so that there should be lots of space. As part of the OLA return to activity protocol, what they really want to see is a one-way flow of players predominantly. So that means we need to have a arrival point, and we also need to have an exit point. With this space, we're fairly lucky in that there are there's 2 parking lots, so one at the south end and one at the north end. The south end will be our arrival point, where there will be a volunteer there taking your name on the attendance sheet, and then you'll be able to go to your assigned group. So we'll keep on going from here to give you an idea of what's going to happen at the arrival process. So upon arrival, have the player and parent guardian go to the check-in table for attendance. As I said before, by checking in, you're acknowledging there are no issues with the screening questions that I've presented earlier. Older players may complete the check-in independently, but please wait in your car till about 5 minutes before the start time, because we're going to need to do some cleaning of the fields and make sure everything is set up properly. And we do want to maintain physical distancing while you're doing your check-in. So if there's already 10 people or 7 people lined up, we want to make sure that we're doing this in a controlled way. We've staggered start times, but we're still asking quite a few people to show up at once. So just be mindful of that. We will have cones available for you at the check-in line to make sure that you guys are maintaining that physical distance, but just be wary of that. So the way that the process will work, the volunteer at the desk will check off that the player is present and also is required to take the name of the parent or guardian who is staying at the field. We need to be able to track our groups very well when we've shared this policy with the city of Burlington, something that they really wanted us to do. And the thing they really wanted was us to limit the number of people on the sideline. So like Steve said, one parent or guardian per player, if you can do that, would be great. At that point, the volunteer at the desk will direct the player to the proper field and group location. At that point, hopefully, once you see that your child has made it to their cone where they are scheduled or where they're supposed to be, we ask that you then move your car to the exit point. So you'll go in from in the south lot, you'll drop them off at the check-in point, and then you're going to take your car to the north lot. The exception to this is the small field and that is right across the roadway for the peanut group. So they're going to be asked to stay in the south lot, hopefully far away, so they're not intermingling with any of the people checking in later. But we also watch. This is going to create a lot of movement of cars. And with that small peanut or small fry group, they're really small, and we ask that you be really cautious when you're driving around in that parking lot, especially at that 5 and 6 p.m. Time slots. So just to give you an idea what it's going to look like, these are the groups that where the groups are going to be. We're going to go north-south with all of them. As Steve said, you can see where the viewing areas are there as well. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in a little bit. So for what the participants are going to see, so they will be assigned a cone where they are allowed to put a water bottle with their full name on it, a non-medical mask, and that's so in case we have an injury with the player, they can put their mask on and make sure that they're protecting everybody around them. And also, if you do need to have any medications, you can have a small bag at the pylon as well. So there's to be no other equipment on the sidelines, no equipment bags. You're to show up in what you're using for the session. So there really shouldn't be anything there except for these items. So I think, to be honest, the player stuff is we have a really good handle on. I think we're really asking a lot of parents and guardians along that first point, and that they must practice physical distancing when we're at the fields. We do know we have had a lot of interaction with the city regarding this plan. They know we are booking for them. I would assume that we would have people, bylaw officers, probably visit us. And we do know that other organizations have had suspensions of their sessions based not on the play on the field, but on the people that are on the sidelines or in the parking lots. So that maintaining physical distancing is very, very important. And just wanted to make sure that we kind of emphasize that. Again, try to limit viewers to one adult if possible. Now, the other thing is to remain in the appropriate viewing area for your child. So since we are tracking people based on their groups and we're asking them the adult who is there with them, we need to make sure that you're not venturing over to other groups and other viewing areas, because we need to be able to track you. So if your child is playing in group 1, we ask that you go to that viewing area, and that you don't, say, migrate up to group 3 to watch the neighbor down the street and see how they're doing. So really making sure that we're staying tight and staying within our groups. Be prepared to help your player with equipment or a minor injury. So we don't want to have our coaches coming within 2 meters of our players. If there is an issue with equipment, they're going to send them to you on the sidelines, or also if there's a minor injury, that might be better dealt with by the adult that's with them. We'll try to lean that way versus exposing the coach or the player to anything. Also be aware that we are asking for masks at all times, both for coaches and also for the people who are around the field. So want to make sure that is really clear. Additionally, in the OLA return to activity policy, there's a big section, not a big section, on disinfection. And one of the things that they emphasize is lacrosse balls, and that coaches, as well as the people around the outside of the field, should not be touching the balls with your hands. So we should be using sticks to do that. You could kick it if it came near you, but just making sure that we're limiting picking those up and throwing, or not doing that, not picking them up and throwing them onto the field. As Steve mentioned, prepare for heat and sun on the sidelines. It is quite sunny in some sections. There's not much shade available. Make sure you are prepared for that. Lastly, the city wanted us to make sure that we were telling you guys that there are no washrooms available at Ireland Park right now. Additionally, they are not doing garbage collection as frequently, and they ask that we not add any, we limit as much as we can leaving any garbage at the facility, because they're not doing as much garbage collection. So those are the main points for parents and guardians, pretty much really maintaining that physical distancing. Now, if we look just to go over again the viewing areas for the different groups, making sure that you're, in general, there will be cones where the people have, where the players have their water bottles and so such. Behind those cones is where we're going to be asking you to stay in view. Now, the departure process is also something that will be new for everyone. So at the end of practice, the coach will have everybody go to their assigned cone. At that point, the coach is going to release one player at a time. So the player will be released, get their adult, meet them, and start moving towards the exit point. Now, that the coach will have to wait, 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds to make sure that there's allowing for sufficient distance in between the players and that we don't have any congregation of players on the pathway leaving. As the parent and guardian proceed to the exit point, we will have hand hygiene there for everybody to wash their hands when they're leaving. And then we do ask that there's no congregating in the parking lot. Everybody probably hasn't seen everybody for a while, but we really can't have people standing around in the parking lot and not maintaining physical distancing. So as you can see, this is kind of the way the pathways will look. That peanut or small fry group is going to be the only one that's going to be going to the south parking lot. Now for the viewing areas for group 3 and 4, or on the east side of the fields, just be wary that you will have people for group 3 probably going behind you, so that you need to make sure that there is a path by which they can go that can maintain physical distancing. And also for group 4, making sure that there's going to be new people who come into the check-in table and that they're being able to go in front of you there without creating a problem with a lack of physical distancing. If there is a COVID positive result, we ask, the BMLA asks that you notify them, call the communications officer at my email provided, chapman@burlingtonlacrosse.com. Now, just as an overview, the plan is that if we are doing everything properly, there should not be any close contacts because we are maintaining physical distancing. But that will be a determination that public health would make, and we would just be able to support them in providing them with attendance sheets and things like that if they needed to have. Additionally, if a player needs to miss or leave a session due to illness, again, let me know. I'll probably hear from the coach if it's they had to leave during a session. But once that, obviously consider COVID testing. If, as you saw, the list of symptoms are pretty long. So think about a COVID test, but also you're going to need to talk to your physician and get a note before you're allowed to return for further activity. So again, 2 new things that we've not had to do in the past, but that will become at a regular part of this program. So again, that's kind of the main things for the return to activity safety protocols. Now, I do need everyone who is on this webinar to make sure that they go and complete the Google form acknowledging that you understand the BMLA protocols and that you will comply, and was sent in the email with the link to this webinar on July 31st. And we do need to track that everybody has done or seen this webinar. And then for the women's lacrosse, please also complete the Google form as to which discipline, field, box, or both, your player is interested in. And that is sent on an email from the BMLA on July 31st as well. So yeah, at this point, if you guys had any questions, I think I'm done. You could definitely feel free to use the chat box. And then again, the Ontario Lacrosse Association, the return to activity section, has all these protocols. So if you do have any further questions on anything, you can contact me, but you can also take a look for yourself on the return to activity phase 3 booklet, because that's really what we're basing our protocols on.